I'm sure the saying goes to say, politics are dirty and the people associate politics to evil. But today we are comforted by the mere fact that today we are celebrating a life of a genuine Christian, a genuine politician, a person who had taken the word that he learned from the church. He tried to show it in his day-to-day life, and he demonstrated it in the way and in the manner he carried his life and also cared for other people that surrounded him. Indeed, for me, I can attest to the fact that the Bemba adage that says, "Umusuku ubiu tukishempanga," true. Other politicians are simply insulted. Other politicians, sometimes they are associated with evil, but it's not everybody who is evil, and the kaunda has demonstrated. For those who remained in this country and outside this country, my prayer is that you can pick that lesson from Dr. Kaunda. The second lesson we pick from Dr. Kaunda is that when you say love your neighbor as you love yourself, do unto others things that you'd want other people to do for you, you demonstrate it in deeds. I'm sure we are not talking about Kaunda, Dr. Kaunda who is infallible. We are not talking about Dr. Kaunda who didn't have weaknesses. We are not talking about Dr. Kaunda who never sinned. We are not talking about Dr. Kaunda who lived his life without any wrong being apportioned to him. That's not what I'm saying. However, what we are talking about is a Kaunda who shows, even out of the wrong that one can do, but what comes out, it's goodness, and the goodness outweighs actually the bad that one can do. You can see how I'm a beneficiary of the policies of UNIP, and I'm proudly saying that the days that we will do here in this country, this and this has been done, at least with the little years that I have here on earth, I can attest to the fact that the policies that Dr. Kaunda stood for, the ideologies that he stood for, they were meant for the sole purpose of Kaunda demonstrating that indeed he loved this country, he loved humanity, and he did it so that whatever he thought can be done to him, it can be done to another person. And I'm sure those of us who've lived even in the early 90s and late 80s, we can attest to the fact that even when global policies, geopolitics are terrible, they cannot support most of the things that happen in Africa, Kaunda stood out. The policies of subsidies were done not only to punish this country, but he did those to make sure that no one starves to death. Yes, he might have misjudged, but his intentions were good. And his intentions, they actually point to the mere fact that he is a champion of love your neighbor as you love yourself. There are many, many other things that we can talk about the life of Dr. Kaunda and what he believed in. Furthermore, when you talk of the period of independence, we hear he is the president who even stood with other countries. And the presence of dignitaries that have come throughout Africa clearly demonstrates that he stood for a good neighborliness. He stood for common good, even at the expense of his own children, at the expense of his life, at the expense of his own country. He wanted to see his neighbors free, his neighbors also enjoying peace, his neighbors also enjoying tranquility, his neighbors also eating as he was eating. So that's a kind of life that Kaunda led. And this leads me to my conclusion, brothers and sisters in the Lord. I'm sure wherever we are seated, the question that we are asking ourselves is that then, if he lived for all those things, how can we live the life like Kaunda lived it and demonstrate it? Even as we listen from sermons, we listen from scripture, even as we listen from a word of moral conscience, how can we ourselves also take part and make a world a better place for all of us? John Wesley, one of the renowned theologians, when he read the passage that we've read, in one of the homilies he gave in England, he provided a very wonderful description of how one might obey the 2 commandments that Jesus talks about. For him, he said, for you to live this commandment, for you to demonstrate it, for you to show it, for you to live by this, the first thing you need to do is that do all the good that you can, by all means, and make sure that you do it. When you demonstrate it, definitely you'll be closer to living the word as it is stated in Scripture. The second thing he talks about is that in all your ways, make sure that you strive, even in the midst of provocation, in the midst of those people that you can even fail to love, people that you can even fail to extend your hand of fellowship, even people you think you will never talk to, I will never talk to this one. Even to all those you think they speak a language that is totally different from the language that you speak. Even to those you think they have a color that you do not have. Even those you think they are below your status. Even those you think you cannot talk to. To him, he says, always make sure that you strive. You strive at all costs, strive at all costs to do good. Punish yourself to extend that hand of fellowship. Punish yourself to love, even in the midst of a situation where you can love.